So this is the third video I'm doing, but I'm going to post these videos on different days because they'll have different topics. But I figured I'm on a roll and I feel like I'm in a talkative mood, so I'm just going to go with it. Right, I made my notes. Now this is an update post just on my blog. And these are for people that, read my books. So basically, okay, so an update on how things are going. I think the first order of business that I've realized I have to tackle is how to avoid ever going into burnout again. So I've been kind of like experimenting around with different days of the week and also how much that I should write on any of these different days. I already got the thing down where I'm only going to do stuff I'm interested in. I am no longer going to write anything that I'm not passionate about. So I got that. But then it's like, where do you go from there? Because apparently that's not enough. Because I tried that a couple years ago. Well, actually, okay, a few years ago. So at 2018, 2017, whenever it was, when I was like, forget this whole writing to market stuff. I'm going to just like write for passion. And I tried that, but I was also still Monday through Friday, every day, 3,000 words a day. And that led to burnout anyway. So just writing for passion is not enough, or at least it's not enough for me. So I've been, and I took that almost a year off basically from writing to basically figure out, like, I guess just to get out of burnout. And just so then, now I'm kind of regrouping and just like, okay, well, how do I avoid this in the future? And I'm going to do like a quick side note, Becca Syme, and I'll, in the video portion of this, I'll link to her thing on YouTube. I came across her book, Dear Writer, Are You in Burnout? Or something like that. And I read her book. And it was so much of it clicked with me. And since then, I've been looking at her other stuff. And she has a company that offers coaching services. So I took the Clifton Strengths test to figure out where I'm at. And I have an appointment coming up with one of the coaches there. And my goal is to take my strengths that I have and to do better with my writing. Not necessarily the storytelling process itself, but how I can approach writing that'll work best for me to help me, like, as I continue on writing with enthusiasm and everything, and to avoid ever getting burned out again. That's my primary goal. My second goal is to really enjoy what I'm doing, and I put that above the money portion. I mean, I like money, but there are other ways to make money in this world. And when you're just burned out and you have nothing there, it's just about darn near impossible to make money writing when you have nothing to write. So anyway, this is currently where I'm at, right? Right now, I'm writing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I'm still going with the 3 stories because I still can't like just focus on one story at a time. And I found like 4 is too much. So, 2 is not enough. So I figured 3. But my goal anyway on the writing days are like 750 words in one book and then 500 words in the other 2 books. So that's still like less than what I was doing before. And I have found I take Tuesdays and Thursdays and weekends off. And I have found that when I do come to the writing part of things, the words flow really well. And in fact, sometimes I'll write more than what my goal is. But I try not to go too far past because I don't want to wear myself out. Because I did that one day last week where I just really went bonkers. And I think I put about 3,000 total between everything, maybe a little bit more than that. And I woke up the next morning and I felt like I had been hit by a freight truck. So I'm just like, okay, that was too much because I got very little done. That next day I pretty much just didn't do much of anything. So I had to recoup, get my energy back. I guess the energy penny thing that Becca Syme talks about, it's a real thing. So anyway, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I usually devote more to the business side of the writing thing because, I still want to do these videos. And I love doing these videos and I love making blog posts and stuff like that. And so those are things I'm really enthusiastic about. So, I want to keep doing those. Those are for those days. And then I'll do the reading, because I'm putting up chapters of my books on YouTube and Rumble. So I do those on those days too. And then I pretty much cut it off at noon. So when noon comes, My son, who's in college, well, he comes here, and then we will go and take a walk together for like an hour and a half. So we'll spend that time together. So I want to, I get my exercise in because I want to make sure that I'm eating right and that I'm exercising. And I need to, because this all goes into play. I mean, it's not just sitting at the computer and writing, and it's not even just taking care of the business stuff. You also, when you're a writer, you also do have to think about your physical health, because your physical health, and in any area of your life, if you're not taking care of your body and you're not sleeping well, you're not doing, like, getting enough rest, you're not doing the stuff you need to do, it does take its toll on you. And different people need different levels of rest than others. So I guess just experiment around, if you're like wondering what's my level, I guess you have to experiment to figure it out. That's what I'm doing. I'm currently doing that. Weekends are usually where I go grocery shopping, and I do some meal preps and stuff like that. So that's not so heavy on the week for me to do everything. So anyway, one of the things I'm doing, I'm not very good at keeping up with BookFunnel because the March got away from me and I never did. I meant to set up 2 books into a BookFunnel promo for April, and that never happened. Okay, so I reached out to an assistant that I have hired to check, a couple things for me. So I'm asking her, and she is familiar with BookFunnel. So I'm going to see if she can run that side of things for me so I don't have to. I mean, BookFunnel isn't hard, but it is time consuming, and it can be time consuming. Not a whole lot, but just enough where you can kind of forget to do it, and you're like, oh man, yeah, I forgot to do that part of things. So I'm doing that, and I'm also asked her, since she's familiar with MailChimp, and that's the email service I use, if she'll kind of go in and clean it up, because there are people on there that haven't opened my emails in forever. So I would like her to go through and kind of weed them out, just unsubscribe them for me. Okay. So, and another thing that comes into my life is that, okay, I have a husband and 4 kids. 1 kid is due to move out at the end of May. But I still, talk to him quite a bit. So, and the other kids, even though, they have jobs and they're doing stuff, they're still, wanting to talk to me. So there'll be, times during the week, when they sit down and they just, whatever's on their mind, they want to talk. And I want to make sure that's, in weekends, I try to set aside stuff for the family more on those times too. But if something comes up during the week, I want to be able to be there for them, because it's really, I feel as a mom, my kids are 19 to 22. So yeah, I mean, we did stair-step babies, so they're all close together. But, I really do feel like it's a privilege and just great that, they still want to talk to mom. Because I'm just like, mom is such a nerd, and she's so goofy, and she's just old and, fuddy-duddy and all this stuff, I'm not cool and hip and young anymore, right? But it means a lot to me that they still want to talk to me, and I value that a lot. But I also want to value my relationship with my husband too, to keep the romance burning and alive. And this summer we'll hit 25 years. So yeah, that's a quarter of a century, not bad. So, I want to keep those relationships intact and steady. So that's part of why I had to just kind of push back on some of the writing stuff and take that to the side. Okay, now all of that background out of the way, but this explains why I'm not going to publish as fast as I used to, and I'm not going to write books as fast as I used to. So it all had a point. All my rambling, okay, that was the point of my whole rambling, and I know I ramble. So anyway, to keep you up to date on what's going on with the actual books. The Hero Least Likely, I am finally editing it. I had to take time off just because the gunfight scene, it just wore me out. But so I took the couple weeks off, and now I'm going back into it. And okay, I mean, I don't know how this is going to come across, because I'm not trying to say, well, I'm the best writer ever. I'm not the best writer ever. But I'll say, as I'm going through The Hero Least Likely, I am just so happy with the way this book has turned out. And a part of me is like, I can't believe I wrote this. And I really love it. It's flowing really well. It's keeping my interest, and I'm so excited about it. And it was worth the wait to take more time into it. And I think it'll also be worth the wait as I'm like going slower in the edits, because I've decided I'm intentionally going slower on these edits. I am not editing every day. I used to do that, where I would edit every day and try to cram it all into a week. You know, I've decided this is a 74,000 word book, and I'm just going pretty much on my writing days. I'll go in and I'll edit about, what, 3 or 4 chapters, just kind of however long the chapters are. But I'm hoping that'll keep things fresh in my mind. And I am still having other people look over the book, you know, because as much as I would like to catch everything, I don't. So don't worry, I'm still going to have that. So instead of getting this book out, I probably won't get it out in May. It's probably going to be more like June. But I think it's going to be worth it, because I think it'll be better if I wait. And at this point, I want the books to be better than fast. If that makes sense. Okay, so regarding the Earl's Blue Stocking Bride, the blow up happened. It was a lot of fun to write. I enjoyed it. I was laughing my butt off. Now some people are going to be like, oh, this heroine, she's being so mean to the guy. I already know, because I know in the back of my head, I already know what people don't like about my stuff, because they've told me. Okay? But you know what? I decided I'm going to write it this way anyway, because this is a feisty chick. Okay? We may be in Regency era, but personalities are still going to be personalities, no matter what your time period is. And she's really pissed, because he just criticized her play. He criticized her work. And then, you know, but I mean, I know how things are going to get resolved. I figured that part out. We're not quite there yet. He's trying to love potion. He poured love potion into her tea to try to like get a quick fix to the big blow up. Well, she was so mad at him, she threw the cup across the room. I did not plan that scene going that way when I went into the book, but that's just kind of what happened this week when I was writing. And it was a lot of fun, and I'm like, well, heck, I'm going to go with this. So now they're going to try to figure out another way to give her a love potion. It's not going to work, because this is only book 1 in that series. So, you know, this one's it's not going to work this time. He's going to actually have to do the hard work of like getting her back in his favor. And that'll be fun. But I think some people are going to feel sorry for him. But you know, hey, it's going to work out in the end anyway, okay? So we got the Masquerade Bride. And that one, it took a while to figure out how this was going to work, because this is a thing where there's a little bit of kind of like magic, except in this case, I kind of decided more on a technology kind of angle to it, because I thought it made more sense, because I was trying to think of a way. This is a holiday marriage by holiday series, and this thing has to like span over books, 3 books. I have the Masquerade Bride is my Halloween story. The Wedding Carol is the Christmas one, and then It's a Wonderful Marriage is my Valentine's one. And I am going to do like kind of like a what if scenario in each of these books, and I have to have some connecting force to make this all play out. So I've decided there's going to be this person from the year 2500 AD, and this person is looking for promotion at her job. And in order to do this, she's got to run experiments on past people. So she has chosen these specific people to run these experiments on. And if these experiments are successful, she will get her promotion. So I figured for this Masquerade Bride, the setup is the heroine isn't sure if she's marrying the right guy. She wants a love match. And then she's like, man, you know, if I was just more popular and stuff, maybe I could pick the guy and then I'd be guaranteed a love match, because I don't really know if I'm making she doesn't even know if she's making a good impression on this guy. So the first order of business for this person who's going to do this job, this experiment, is she is going to give our heroine a different life, where she could be the belle of the ball kind of setup, you know, where she can be popular, where she can be charming, she could be outgoing, and she's going to have the line of suitors. So she's going to have that opportunity. So that I finally figured out that's what's going to happen. And then this person who's looking for this job promotion is going to show up again in books 2 and 3. So that's the connecting force. Okay. So then the preacher's wife, I was able to actually write a little bit in that book. I thought I wasn't going to be able to, because I did kind of stall out a little bit. So I just put it on hold, and I was working on that fan fiction piece that I talked about before. And I got like about 8,000, almost 9,000 words into that fan fiction. And then finally, I was able to like get through all the stuff to write in the other stuff that I needed to write, because that idea in my head was actually blocking me from doing any writing for like a couple weeks. It was crazy. But once I got the words out and at least something, so I was finally able to just push aside that and get back to like the work that I really wanted to do, which are my books. So yeah, the Preacher's Wife, I'm actually 16,000 words into this already, and I couldn't believe it because it doesn't feel like it, because it doesn't really feel like a whole lot has happened yet. But I guess emotionally and stuff, things are happening. And what I'm doing, I guess at this point, is just kind of setting the stage for this story. And then we'll have to see where it's kind of going from there. I expect this to be a more serious kind of book and stuff, because I'm going to tackle some heavy issues in it. It's going to be fun. But it's not like the comedy of The Earl's Blue Stocking Bride. This is like the total opposite. So, okay, so that's the kind of the update on the stuff I'm doing. And I am excited about all of it. So hopefully you guys will be excited reading it too.